What is up, you guys? We are here for our weekend reflection message. I hope everybody is doing well. Shabbat Shalom. I'm looking forward to finishing my pot of Cajun beans and rice that I'm cooking. I just chopped all the vegetables while I was listening to a Kabbalah class, and I thought I'd stop and do the video, and then I'm gonna cook everything after we're done. So yay. I will say there's layered meanings in our reading today. There are layers that address the collective and the individual. So I'm going to pause here and let you guys listen to the audio. I think it sums up my points really nicely and concisely. And then when we come back, I'm actually going to read you guys the Radiant Oracle cards. The books were heavily speaking to me today. And we'll even read one of the tarot cards out of Eileen Conley's Apprentice, Tarot of the Apprentice. But yes, I think that you'll see the points that I think are really clear and relevant. And I think that because they're from the book, I think it's an even more interesting synchronicity than me just saying it, and it seems like it's just coming from me. So that's how we're going to roll this episode today. I also spent a lot of the day preparing for tomorrow's Secret Teachings of Jesus Saturday night secret sermon. And so I think tomorrow's episode will be really cool, although it's a departure from our usual structure. I have a lot of clips of video from my Kabbalah teachers that I'm just going to share with you guys, and we're going to watch them together. And I'm going to go into how they relate to the portion that we studied in the Gospel of Philip last week. So, and it was completely aligned with this week's energy and lesson. So I thought that was really interesting. So we'll pause, listen to the audio, and then we'll be right back. On a universal collective level, we are being lovingly encouraged, if not warned, to be extremely disciplined, discerning, cautious, and in tune with our surroundings this weekend in any crowded public spaces. There's a large-scale manipulation happening right now using people's beliefs, philosophies, ideologies, and feelings to persuade them to go along with an evil agenda. This agenda is wrapped up in the illusion of security, righteousness, and family values, but that is only a husk designed to disguise a sinister intention. We're being asked to turn up the volume of our criticism towards evils in the world at large, whilst at the same time turning down our criticisms aimed at our brothers and sisters. Unity and love are called for to reveal miracles, and miracles we need. Do not allow yourself to be manipulated. History is playing out in this moment. What will your legacy be? On a personal level, Jupiter is moving into Cancer. Something is beginning to shift, and the transformation is beginning to bear fruit. At this moment, we are healing, resting, and recalibrating as we begin this next chapter. Individuals in areas of coaching, counseling, and spiritual teachings are needed and may see a surge in their practice or offerings. All right, so from the Radiant Sun Oracle, we have speculation, which is Jupiter in Cancer, which Jupiter is just moving into Cancer, I think this week. It's a recent event. I'm not sure what the exact date is, but a lot of astrologers are talking about it right now. There's Mars in Scorpio, which is criticism. And we have Jupiter in this was Mars in Virgo, which was criticism. And this is Jupiter in Scorpio, manipulation. So we have speculation, criticism, and manipulation. Well, on a collective level, the energies and intensity are amping up from the darkness. And this is a test of humanity. And we are being tested to see, where is our moral compass? Where is at what point is collective consciousness on earth? Where is the collective heart of humanity in the unfolding of human consciousness, of the understanding of Christ consciousness, of the 2,000 years we've had to work on the teachings of Jesus that were fairly straightforward and simple. He had two sets of teachings, the outer teachings and the inner teachings. And the outer teachings are the basic teachings that we all hear about all the time. And they are how we are, what attitudes we are supposed to have toward one another, and how we are to treat one another, right? So mankind is really being tested. And this is like, if not akin to the prophecies talking about the battle of light and dark and good and evil in the end of days. And when anything that is spiritual has to be brought forth in the material, in the physical. So if there is a battle of light and dark happening, it's not going to be this invisible thing that we can't see happening, and it's not going to involve us, and it's going to be going on behind the scenes. It is going to be made manifest through us, through our physicality, through our bodies, through people. So this week, there's a lot of tensions rising. You know, last week there was instability in leadership and public fights and accusations thrown and things that the executive powers that be wanted to distract from our attention. And so as a retaliation of their emotional turmoil, and according to their plan that is being played out, they will look for any reason they can to be heavy-handed with the American public. This weekend, there are gatherings and demonstrations, No Kings in America events. And so I believe, like, the criticism card, and we'll get more into it when I read you the card, but it talks about what I heard from Spirit when I was reading this card was that we collectively need to amp up our criticism of evil and the evil in the world system and the evil powers that be and the evil plots. And we need to call that evil out. At the same time, we need to dial back and dial down our criticism and blame for each other on a personal level, right? Look what's stirring up so much of this hate and destruction and death. It's manipulators stirring people up to put all of their problems, to blame all their problems on marginalized groups of people, and to gang up on those people so that those angry mobs are empowered to act out, and basically their anger and their disillusionment with their own life and their frustration at their own life is weaponized, and they are given a false sense of empowerment by someone literally saying, this is just textbook marketing manipulation. You're very special. We care about you. I understand how you feel. So those mobs of people are so needy of that validation that that buys their loyalty, and they feel seen and they feel understood. That's all you have to do in marketing to get people to jump in on your cause, is to make them feel seen and to make them feel like you understand their struggle, and then to point out a common enemy and give that person empowerment by giving them a solution to attack that common enemy or common problem. If you start to think back about every sales presentation and every coach's funnel system, they always hook you in with the story where they're like, I suffered from this, and I know you're suffering from this, and this is the problem, but I have the solution, and I'm going to empower you to take your power back. And this is how people get emotionally hooked into sales funnels. This is the same way manipulative powers, whether they be corporate or political interests, suck people in to their plots and schemes. They make us buyers for what they have. So tomorrow there are all of these events and demonstrations planned, and this administration is dying to enact martial law and to exert more authority, especially in more liberal areas. So even like we're seeing news clips from LA, from independent videos to other news sources other than the propaganda channels. We see that everything in LA was calm. It was peaceful. There was like one water bottle thrown, and the group stopped the person and forced them away from the protest. But the powers and the organized authorities sent to the scene were the aggressors. And they strategically trapped people in so that they would break the curfew and then arrested them all. They're hoping to incite violence. They're hoping to incite mobs, and they're hoping to arrest anyone they can. Meanwhile, the other group is taking people haphazardly and figuring it out later. So being in the wrong place at the wrong time is very, very dangerous at the moment. So be very, very careful when you are in these situations, where you are, know who you're with, know how this crowd is going to more than likely behave, and be ready to move or to ditch the situation at any given second. If you are starting to get involved in these protests, read up on protest safety and get like all of the equipment and gear and all of the numbers and the resources, and have everything ready. Be a trained professional if you're going to go into these situations, because let's hope that this doesn't happen, but it's highly likely that there are going to be provocative situations that are intended to incite civil unrest. Okay, so we are basically doing our civil duty and our right to fight against the powers that be, using our voices. However, we know we are walking into booby traps and landmines. So be very wise, be very agile, be very quick to move and to listen to your instincts, and no matter what, show absolute discipline not to be responsive or reactive to provocation or force, because they will use anything. Even like, think about like how you have to behave around a horse that's spooked, and any little thing could startle the horse or set the horse off. That's the kind of tension and pressure cooker that these situations are going to be like from now on. Okay, so there's also a dark plot and scheme, and it's not even a conspiracy anymore. This is actual like plotting, called the Dark Enlightenment. And this is dressed up in the clothing of religiosity and righteousness and family values. However, it is only a husk and a mask and a camouflage to disguise the fact that this is an evil plot and scheme to enforce a global plot to take over the world, and it's run by white supremacists and religious extremists in the Christian right and the Christian alt-right side. So this is it is a plot to turn the government into a totalitarian dictatorship with a king who rules over the people in absolute authority, and this is a plot to ethnically cleanse the lands, and what else was a part of it? To survey people using AI and basically enslave and exploit the human race. So basically all the stuff that we heard the Illuminati and the New World Order were up to all of this time, except we thought it was going to be some like slick Rick from Europe who was like sophisticated and smart, not with a whole group of like sophisticated, smart, like dark behind the scenes, suited up rich people. It's these goons that we're dealing with now. So that's happening. So do not allow yourself to be manipulated through your feelings or your beliefs or your ideologies, because it's happening on both sides. The powers that be right now, the authoritarians, are using the beliefs and emotions to suck their followers in. This is a cult. And this is how they get people in and loyal and brainwashed. But then they're also using the feelings and ideologies of who they consider to be the left to provoke them into retaliation and to trick them into the behavior that they are trying to accuse the left of. So they're trying to provoke the left into acting in ways that they've been trying to tell people, like, see, we told you they were like this. They just need photo ops and video clips to exploit. So this is one of those that we are now in the time that this channel has been trying to prepare us for, when I've been trying to teach you guys to have a mind of your own, to be able to think for yourself, to be able to discern right from wrong and listen to the voice of spirit and not be emotionally manipulated and be emotionally sober and emotionally sovereign. This is the moment. This is why. It's not to save you from that narcissist who's coming back for another year in a row trying to waste your time. That's it too. But the time for like wallowing in our own self-indulgences is over. That was the old timeline. We were supposed to have figured it out so that we could be capable of dealing with like serious global concerns and things outside of ourselves. So, breaking news today is that there is now attacks going on between Israel attacked Iran. So now there's unrest between those two countries. So it's like the volatility is spreading. On an individual level, it is more important now than ever that we are doing the healing work within ourselves, but that we are adopting an attitude and a consciousness and a heart of love and unity and forgiveness and sharing and caring. And the hardest part is to extend that to the people who we need to extend it to most. It's easy for people who care and have compassion to extend your care and your love to people who are being put upon right now, the victims of the world. But what's hard is to extend our love to the people who are getting caught up in the aggressor's side. And if we point the finger of blame and criticism, we are only going to drive those people further into darkness and further away from unity. And where there is a lack of unity, where there is separation, there cannot be blessing. So we cannot be at war with each other, because that is what an authoritarian regime wants. They want the citizens to be in a civil war with one another. So, like so many clips of people that I've seen extending an invitation to the National Guard to join the side of the protesters, to leave your post and come to the side of the people, right? Just stand on our side of the barricades. The invitation to join us, to be a part of this movement. Come, return home to your family, not these people who are exploiting you and using you and making you a pawn and laughing at you as you are their fool running their errands and you're their lackey, right? So I struggle personally right now with my family members that are on the MAGA train, and it's very frustrating, and it's very hard to navigate this situation when you're dealing with people who raised you to see through this moment when it arose. They I grew up in my evangelical household that I grew up in wasn't an alt-right Christian national house, but we were one of those evangelical households where the obsession and fixation was around the end times and the end of days. But my family didn't have a specific ideology around that or like specific plan around it. They were just constantly on the lookout for like the signs that this was happening or that this was coming. So like so many people who grew up in similar households, we were basically stripped of any like fun, joyful age of innocence. And it was just like from the earliest memories we have, it's just been like, be on the edge. We're at the end of times. It was just like fear mongering and obsession around this whole idea to never fall prey to the Antichrist and to be vigilantly on the lookout. And yet they're the ones that have gotten sucked into the literal archetype of Antichrist, if not the literal manifestation of the movement of the Antichrist. You know, so some people are open and malleable and can be reasoned with, and then other people are at different levels of their involvement and their obsession about it. And it feels, you just get so angry and frustrated because you feel like these people aren't who they said they were, you know, and that anger and that bitterness, when it's so close, that's the hardest person to forgive. But that's the most important person to forgive, because that's the dark in your own world, your own little bag of tricks that we have to alchemize. That's the darkness that's the most bitter for you. And the only thing that we can control is doing our work, correcting our own soul. And what we have to work with is the people that we have had our closest intimacies with. And so it's the people who are the hardest to forgive right now, who need the most love from us. And it's the hardest to do because you're like, how do I be authentic and genuine and real in this moment and not more destructive and not, you know, because it's so easy to get on a bandwagon of us versus them and then you lose them, right? It has to be handled delicately. And so it's such a precarious situation to be involved in. And that's why the love is such a vital, foundational necessity in these situations. Because the moment bitterness starts to get mixed in and anger, that's when the volatility starts to happen. And when somebody brought up recently, it was a quote, but it was that whenever there is ignorance and fear, hate is an automatic byproduct of that. Of ignorance and fear breeds hate. So the only antidote for hate is love. And what is the light of the Creator? Unconditional outpouring of love. Not to get anything in return, but to share for the sake of sharing. So for this example, me showing my father love and patience and sticking with him and not giving up on him is not so that he will change, so that I will be happier and more comfortable. But it has to be because my heart is concerned for him and his fate and the fate of his soul. And his, because I'm concerned for his well-being. And so that he won't miss out on the light of the Creator. So he won't make an eternal mistake, right? So it's very complex. It's very delicate. It's very precarious where we're at right now. But I believe that the tides have already turned, in that the catalyst has happened and change is inevitable. Change is happening. So we can't resist the process of change, but we have to know that things are shifting and to be very careful not to have the wool pulled over our eyes in this moment. So let's read the cards, because some of them have to do with the fact that, and then the third truth coming through the reading was that this week, one of the final Zohar portions of the week was talking about how the students of the secrets of the Torah, not just the obvious Torah, just doing a surface level Bible study, but people who are studying like Kabbalah, for instance, they are learning the hidden secrets, the hidden wisdom, the soul of the Torah. Those people reveal this quality of the light that puts them in protection and blesses them and helps purify their darkness and negativity to help them bypass the process that often requires chaos and pain and suffering. So when we learn this wisdom and when we reveal this wisdom and awaken it within us, we are then charged to be good stewards of God's varied graces by sharing that wisdom with others, so that when we study, like for instance, when I share the Gnostic Gospels during Secret Teachings of Jesus, so it's like when you study and the light is revealed to you in a unique way through your study, you're compelled to teach that to people, and that adds protection to you and it also gives protection to them. But it's not like you're not supposed to just take that wisdom and hold it in for yourself. It's like you are obliged to share that and pass it on and share your wisdom. So when I share the Gnostic Gospels, I read the passage, I give the insight that I'm getting that's unique to me, that's channeling through, but I also teach on the principles of Kabbalah so that the insights coming through have context and foundation and a structure. Does that make sense? So we're teaching not only what we're being given and our own insights, but we are also teaching the spiritual principles as well. And so we are obliged to share those. And when we have been given gifts by the Creator, our own unique gifts, we are also obliged to share those with the world and develop those gifts that we've been given and entrusted as stewards to enhance those gifts, to master those gifts, and to use them to help and serve others. So there is encouragement this week that we are doing a good job at doing that, and that the world needs these gifts and our insights and wisdom, and that this is a moment where the line is being drawn in the sand, where our legacy and what we're being left behind in our human footprint on this earth and as souls is being written. Our legacy is being written in this moment of history. So let's read speculation. Below the Cancerian crab, its claws outstretched, touches the alchemical circle, depicting the four elements that blend the universal creation. So we've been talking too this week about co-creating with the Creator and being aware of the fact that we are partners with the Creator, co-creating this reality. In the center, an eye looks for opportunity. The king and queen signify marriage, tradition, and stability. So the alchemical marriage of the inner expressed through the outer has also been a big topic of conversation this week. But also too, going back to that big collective, like kind of plot, that the whole scheming to exploit those home values and marriage values, you know, is a big talking point for some of these tricksters afoot. Okay, so in order to expand and develop their lives, people with Jupiter in Cancer feel a need to keep and develop their strong sense of family roots and tradition. This desire to be around and care for others may spread into work for the community at large, which may be seen as an extension of the family. So this, in terms of how it's being expressed right now, is by seeing people show up in these demonstrations in defense of innocent people and these families being torn apart. And so people are showing up to protect the family and to protect the family unit. And while the authorities at be are preaching that they value family, they're also valuing family so much that they're tearing it apart, right? Everything they tell you they're valuing, it's like they keep doing the opposite. Same with the pro-life, right? They're putting all of these women in mortal danger, and little girls too, because they refuse to do medically necessary abortions in a lot of states now because of the overturn of Roe versus Wade. So all of these people that are saying, we value human life, we're pro-life, but it's like, okay, well, what about the cruel and inhumane attitude you have to the human lives that are being torn apart right now in this country and across the world? What about that? So again, the people, the collective family, are rising to protect one another. The desire to be around and care for others may spread into work for the community at large, which may have been seen as an extension of the family. Jupiter Cancerians also benefit from exploring their talent for historical research or for expanding their understanding of the past. This is exactly what's happening right now. People are looking at history, looking at the rise of the Third Reich. They are looking at all of those steps that led toward everything that unfolded during World War II. And they are realizing that history does repeat itself if we do not learn the lessons that history has offered us. And so people are looking at our past right now on a deeper level, and they're looking at the psychology and the spiritual crisis that we're in that would allow for this to happen again. The early family upbringing of people with the Jupiter-Cancer combination has usually been supportive and comfortable, and so they try to pass these qualities on to those surrounding them. If not inheritors of material possessions, they certainly inherit strong family traditions, and most usually both. Often people with this Jupiter in Cancer receive a family inheritance that may become the basis for establishing a family business. Now, I can't help but think about all the people right now, like from the Heritage Foundation and places like that, that are that are passing generational wealth down, who are corrupt, who are trying to they're passing their hatred and their legacy down generation through generation, and using their family values and trying to project those and enforce those on other people. This is happening in imbalanced and corrupt ways right now in the higher the higher tiers of, I guess, the food chain, and whereas the common people are extending their hands to one another and valuing community and extending their hands beyond their own immediate family and having, shared collective family attitude. People with this planet sign combination usually have an excellent feeling for acquiring property and for improving its value once their ownership. Their own home may at some time be used for gatherings of religious, philosophical, or educational nature. So with the reference to people who are in coaching and counseling and teaching, these are professions that can be done remotely. They can be done on your own. Like, you can become a course creator. You can have sessions with people over Zoom. Like, these are businesses that you can start from home. When this card is drawn during a reading, it encourages the questioner to look to his or her family for support and even financial help with regard to the question asked. The speculation card is also a good indication of a successful outcome to an imminent property deal, a legal situation involving home, running a family business from home, exploiting an inheritance to the benefit of the family. Okay, criticism. Let's see, Mars. Oh, here we go. Criticism. A blue eye stares fixedly at an arrangement of flowers in a simple basket. Above, a finger points accusingly at the necklace of a woman who has a hair braid made of wheat. Personal Mars Virgo energy can find a good outlet in skilled work and craftsmanship. Many people with this planet sign combination are attracted to medicine, and especially areas such as surgery, in which great care and precision is necessary. They also often are skilled with machinery and motors. If the occupation of the Mars Virgoan does not allow this ability for precision or detailed work to be expressed, it can manifest and provide great satisfaction as a specialist part-time interest. Virgos also like to plan things carefully, not liking to fritter away energies. And although Mars usually provides an excess of energy in this sign, it is well directed and never wasted. This card indicates a propensity for success and even prominence in work for a well-run organization, probably in areas which analysis and study of health, medicine, and complementary healing or dietary control is important. So this talks about like detailed work, someone who's into wellness and healing and analysis, but someone who is aggressive about the details, right? Mars Virgoans tend to be perfectionists and may set themselves impossible standards. In extreme cases, there is a danger that they may make themselves uncomfortable or even ill with this self-inflicted pressure. Often it manifests in supercritical behavior towards others, picking on faults to compensate for what the Mars Virgoan feels to be his or her own failure. So the extreme side right now is basically pointing their finger at everybody in the world, talking about how evil and awful everybody is that doesn't fit into their box, and blaming everyone for all the problems of the world that does not fit in their box. And so this is exhausting a lot of their energy right now, but a lot of the energy and aggression is being aimed at people who are on the fringes and that are not, that don't look like the people who are doing the finger pointing. In a reading, this card indicates a need to be more critical in providing the answer to a question. So there's a need to be more critical in finding the answers to a question, or conversely, that one is being overly critical to the detriment of a situation. So more intentional, less critical. A cooperative research project, a position of responsibility in a large organization, personal assistant to an important person. So I think that this card's energy is the part that's saying, hey, look, we need to be more critical about the evils in the world, and we need to be less about pointing fingers at each other, because the Christian extremists love to put everybody else on a cross, and they miss the whole point, that the whole point of Christianity is to pick up your own cross, put yourself on your own cross, and hold on for dear life so that you won't jump off when those nails start driving through your hands. Manipulation. Okay. My leg is falling asleep. Ow. Okay, a powerful and magnetic priest or shaman stares penetratingly at the viewer. Above is an 8-pointed star representing the 8th house of Scorpio, and on the beaded headdress, 3 6-pointed stars represent wisdom and enlightenment. Jupiter Scorpions have expand and develop their lives through deep and passionate interests in psychology and mysticism, by which they explore the hidden secrets of life. The Jupiter Scorpio's passion for life's deeper subjects could develop into a strong interest in such things as life after death, reincarnation, or spiritualism. Legal work or business may attract them, and they could gain from other people's finances either through assistance or speculation. The ability to see and help develop other people's talents gives the Jupiter Scorpio personality good possibilities in counseling or some kind of management work. Now, one of the things that this week has been about has been revealing that potential self within. And so this is talking about recognizing the talent and potential that others have and being able to encourage and bring that out in them, right? There are people with special talents for that, for recognizing like what other people are good at. I'm pretty good at this too. That's why I do what I do. But like, people can come to me and talk to me about their ideas and their hobbies, and I can give them like 5 business plans to get them started, to make like a viable business. Do they ever do it? No. This is why you charge for your advice, because when you just give your advice freely, people ignore it and they blow it off. But when they pay for your advice, they take it seriously and they actually try it out. Okay, so they have the ability to develop other people's talents. Gives the Jupiter Scorpio personality good possibilities in counseling or some kind of management work. People with this planet sign aspect have the ability to discover other people's secrets, whether for altruistic or selfish reasons. Now think about all of the blackmail and coercion and extortion and manipulation going on right now due to other people's secrets, and the kind of extreme behavior right now that is coming out to protect their darkest secrets and distract from the revealing of those secrets. And their magnetic and penetrating powers can be used almost hypnotically to achieve their objectives. Now, think about this. When you think about a cult leader or a charismatic psychopath, whether for altruistic or selfish reasons, their magnetic and penetrating powers can be used almost hypnotically to achieve their objectives. Positively, Jupiter Scorpios could find themselves with responsibility for helping others with their deepest problems, which would be the spiritual teacher, the helper, On the evil side, it can, on the other hand, these are people who can persuade and seduce with their enormous charisma, leading others into whatever they desire. How dangerous is that right now? Think about the people who are so loud and charismatic, or telling people how special they are and they understand and they're, So these people are like hypnotizing people into just doing whatever they want, right? Let's see. This combination can produce the devoted entrepreneur who supports and encourages prodigies with unfailing work. So it's like this personality type can either develop hidden talent and they can see the potential in someone and bring it out of them, or this person can bring out the worst in people and use someone's secrets and fallibility and their cracks against them. So it can be used either way, but for the light, it would be a person who uses their wisdom and shares and channels their wisdom and uses that to help others and help develop others and helps the success of others and helps bring out the talents of others. Okay. And so underneath speculation, we had 4 of Swords. So 4 of Swords is about healing. Things are shifting and it's about having some quiet time for rest and renewal and meditation to shift your mindset and to find peace within, and allowing the situation to sort of like shift and maneuver while you take time to convalesce, right? So this is kind of what's happening right now. And we had the Hanged Man in the middle of the week with basically the same message, saying there is like this quiet stillness going on right now for us to sort of like let ourselves recalibrate and let the universe move some parts and pieces and prepare us for when things start taking off, because there's going to be a lot of momentum coming soon and we might find ourselves have like a surge of success that we're not expecting, especially if you are a spiritual teacher or a counselor or somebody that can help develop people's talents, because the world is like, they need people right now. There's so many people who have not been doing the work. And now that things are like the crazier than ever, it's like now they're in panic. They need help. They don't know where to turn. So they need people helping them and guiding them. The Tower in reverse is with criticism. And the Tower in the reverse key from the Tarot for the Apprentice by Eileen Conley says the following: the process of change has started. Don't try to resist the inevitable breakdown of present circumstances. The time has come to see the light. Let it go. Don't try to fight. We've been shedding what no longer serves, remember? So that's not to say we're not fighting the darkness. We are not fighting to hold on to the darkness within ourselves. The time has come to see the light. Let it go. Don't try to fight. Look at things as they really are. Don't be put off by false ideas. Ignore any opposition and you will win the day. See the writing on the wall and do what you know is right. Don't wait until the last minute. The Bible and the Zohar talks about the fact that like God is happy if you show up at the last minute in your old age and decide to change then, but it makes more of a difference and it's more meaningful, and God likes it better when people decide proactively to change in their younger years, when they can actually make a difference in the world, when they're out and they have a choice to be, libertines, or they can have a choice to change who they are inside. God is like, well, once you're already old and tired and you have nothing else to do now, you want to hang out with me? Like now that you're not hot, you want to come up here now that you've like let yourself go? So like God wants us when we're young and hot, okay? When you're old and you can't do any more damage and you're tired and you're shut in and all you're doing is sitting around reading the paper anyway, you're not making a difference in the world for good or bad. So you spent all your life putting negativity out in the world, and what, the last minute you're going to be like, I changed my mind. Forgive me, I repent. It's like, okay, fine, but it doesn't count for a lot now, you know? So it's the same as like in a moment like this when the world is being tested and we are looking at atrocities go on and people are just like, well, I don't know what to think, I'm confused, or they don't want to make a comment, they don't want to take a stand in either direction because they can't have a moral backbone to express their own personal view of the situation. Like, Jesus talked about coming in the end and dividing and separating the wheat from the chaff, the good fish from the bad fish, the sheep from the goats. And right now, we are literally deciding whether or not we are sheep or goats by the shit that's playing out right now and what we're going along with or not going along with, what we have been manipulated to agree with or not in our inside. It is going to be the determining call that says, okay, you had every indication and clue to choose the side of the sheep, and you decided to be a goat. You decided to be a goat twice in a row. Even though you saw how the goat group was acting, you decided again to not be a sheep, but to be a goat. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? So right now is when we are being asked to choose. Who are you in this moment when the line is drawn in the sand? Are you going to be a sheep or are you going to be a goat? Are you going to be with the good fish or are you going to be separated with the bad fish? Think about that. I can't wait for season 5 of The Chosen to come out, because this is the season where Jesus flips tables and calls out the organized religion for what it is. And this is the moment where people need to hear it the most. And there's a reason why it didn't freaking release sooner, so that everybody had a chance to see all this playing out in film and flesh and blood and in Technicolor, so that it would be easier to be reminded. It's like having a cheat sheet for the test. We weren't allowed to have it because we didn't earn that answer before we took the test, right? The season that everybody's going to see, oh yeah, I forgot, this is Jesus totally doesn't agree with this shit, is after all these debates have been going on throughout the entire spring season. Isn't that interesting? So see the writing on the wall and do what you know is right. Do not wait until the last minute. Trying to hang on will only make the situation worse. Clear things up and have the courage to start over. So many people just like dig their heels in because they don't want to be wrong. And so they continue to go along with something that they don't believe in and that's not right, because they just can't, they don't want to lose face. They don't want to admit to being wrong or changing their mind. And it's like, who's winning and who's being hurt in that? You know, what is being gained? Because 10 of Pentacles is our final card, and this is, on the one hand, talking about like the beginning. So like maybe in one sense your efforts are starting to show that like your dreams and your goals are finally starting to grow, like maybe in the micro level, and so things are growing and they're starting to fill out, and you're seeing fruit for your efforts. But in the grand scale, this card talks about legacy. What legacy, what spiritual legacy are we creating for ourselves, for our future, for the planet, for humanity right now? Are we adding to the upliftment and dignity of humanity, or are we adding to the misery and suffering and the degradation of humanity? Attainment or recognition, a feeling of security. So yes, we could be on the verge of expanding and having success and recognition and things growing. But I think that you need to be prepared for that mentally and spiritually in order to be able to maintain it. And I think that's what the work has been all about. And that's why it's always been like a slow, organic process. And it hasn't been like a fast track to success, because we needed to be able to handle the things that came with it, and have the consciousness and the discipline to handle things when times are volatile and uncertain, and to know how to carry ourselves and have self-control, and to not throw it all away in impulsive actions and reactive behavior. And that'll be really important this weekend, is to have absolute self-control and restriction to not do anything impulsive or reactive if you are out in public in these areas that are doing demonstrations. All right, that is all for tonight. My prayers for everyone all over the world. Generally speaking, peace on earth, goodwill towards all men, and love in our hearts for one another. Amen. Peace.